Good day, friends. Good day, dear humans. Good day, friends of the humans. Today's little chat is dedicated to Donald Trump, the biggest trumpet of God. The Prime Creator is fully supporting what Trump is doing and what you are who supporting his approach. You are absolutely blessed. The rest, they have to learn, live with their mistakes until they recognize they are doing mistakes. Maybe they're just ignorant, pretending they never make mistakes, or that all their mistakes from before will be still covered or will be swept under the carpet so nobody will look at them. Yet karma, Prime Creator, universe doesn't work this way. Has unlimited time. It has unlimited patience for each one of us to come out to our own truth of the mistakes that we've been doing. And knowing that something is wrong and repeating it again, it's, to me, very same as doing purposeful crime. No matter what legal system says, no matter what government system says, no matter what your neighbor or your spouse or your children say, if you know that something is not moral and it's very wrong, that it's hurting other human being, that it's hurting a nature, that it's hurting planet, you are purposefully making a criminal act. You say it, you can repackage it, but it will not save you from the karma, because karma is a bitch. Doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, and it's always in your face. Yet the only thing you can do, continue stealing for some next couple of weeks, some extra energy from people who are still oblivious and they don't see that they can actually prevent your theft. Because you're doing a purposeful mistake, and especially if you're in a publicity business, media, newspapers, talk shows, radio shows, TV and so on, movies. If you're doing things that are very, very damaging to other people and the environment of these people, you cannot, I'm repeating, you will not be able to ignore your own wrongdoings. So that'll for today. Only way out, to stand against your mistakes. Clever people, wise people do mistake only once. I mean, same mistake. And they absolutely do everything in their power to avoid doing the same mistake second time. Ignorant people, the ignorant creatures, the ignorant and immoral beings, they will try to do everything to cover their wrongdoings by putting blames on others, as we can see now developing in America, as we can see now in Europe. Europe is falling really apart into a sovereign nations, yet nobody wanna bring this up out loud. So let me just make another little prediction, which will be more like an intent of mine. So the Europe as European Union, the coalition of 28 enslaved nations under the oppression of a fake dollar, fake euro is going to go bye-bye. When exactly? It's already done, yet not fully implemented in these lying media and politicians' presentations. When you have two major countries, France and Britain, come out of EU, right away the seams of this, let's call it compact entity, is broken. So EU as such doesn't exist anymore because Britain is out. When they say they will be fully out, in what legal terms and who has to pay to who what, doesn't really matter. EU is gone. United States, as a quite big corporation that it was running under the oppression of Federal Reserve, it's already out of this, call it financial terrorism, that the Federal Reserve and central banks were doing in collusion with many of these, let's call it hidden and unknown rulers, ex-rulers of the financial system. Queen, why Prince Philip resigned? Not because he's old, but because he has to claim a bankruptcy. Yet nobody is willing to accept it or going in a public and say this openly. Why Kissinger was in the office of Trump a couple of days ago when Trump just announced a major changes in the FBI and really announcing, not to the word, but announcing the pedogate and the pizzagate and these pedophilia rings to be fully exposed. Yet he cannot just go and bring you an evidence and show you. You can be ignorant, as majority people is still, but it has to come to the point where you asking Trump to disclose why these things were happening before. So it's happening more. Fox News is doing this very diligently on all the anchor shows that they are done. Doesn't matter, Hannity, Tucker, Jenny, McCallum, these are brilliant and very wise, it's called truth deliverers. They will question, and they will question until Trump, with his actions, answers. And one of these actions was Comey gone. Consider that what you see is just a tip of the iceberg. That is really happening. What is really happening within the White House? You see, one person is investigated, one person is fired, Comey is fired, but you have about 900 and something % underneath, because this is, let's say, an analogy to the iceberg. You have 1% on top, or let's say 9% on top and 91% underneath. So don't expect everything at once, yet it's going very fast. So you have to find enough time for you to recognize your mistakes. Don't tell me that this is not a mistake if you're ignorant. Don't tell me that this is not a mistake if you considering, killing your relative or a family member through medications, through putting him through chemotherapy, through actually ignoring his asking you for help, and you know that you can help, yet you're still ignoring. So to me, this is a big mistake of yours or the ones who are ignorant. is rare. Is it ignorant from a person that he claims or she claims that they never make a mistake? Right away, you are making a big mistake being ignorant. Because we, by daily not saying the truth in the open, we are doing a mistake. Daily, by us seeing wrongdoings around the world around us in our environment, and we don't involve ourselves to stop these wrongdoings, this is another big mistake. So basically we are full of mistakes, yet when the time comes to stop doing them, when we become very, very active in telling the truth outside of our own little brain that is really brainwashed, so it doesn't really have any truth within, it's just looping out and replaying the same story on and on and on. Mostly what is influential, what influence comes from the outside in, through media, through fake media, through non-actions of many others, through worries, through fearful thoughts or decisions that some of the leaders makes, or even worse, when the doctors makes a proposition that you have 3 months, 6 months to live. Is this a big mistake? To accepting these as a truth, and imagine how many of these mistakes doctors are doing. How many of these medical workers are doing a daily mistake by cutting and opening people, poisoning them with, purposefully poisoning them with pharmaceutical poisons. They are just there to influence their people's obedience. So there's no other way out. There's no other way out from the majority of people. Let's say Julian Assange, in prison, basically, in prison. But he's the most free man of all that I see around. Even if he's confined in a small embassy, not being able to see the light of the day, or go into nature by his own accord, he is the most free man on this planet, because he's telling the truth no matter what. So, can you use him as an example to start doing your own little, mistake, recollection, and regression from the old ways of living, or not even living? This is an old ways of surviving. Now it's a time for you and for every single one of us to start truly living by telling the truth. Find the ways. There's always a way. Trump finds his ways. Julian Assange finds his ways. You can find your way by, doesn't matter, not only voting for Trump or voting for Le Pen, or raising your voice to stop the invasion of the fake immigrants coming in Europe or America, or you start to be proactive and start sharing these ideas to every single person around you. This is the only way out. If you want to get out, if you want to think status quo, or being there in a very powerful position that you are, or a very comfortable position that majority people fooling themselves that they are in a comfortable chair with a comfortable remote, comfortably doing nothing to save anybody else but their own little daily pleasures. They have enough meat, they have enough alcohol, they have enough cigarettes, and they have enough of the soap operas on the TV, doesn't matter, news, mainstream media, to me it's another just soap opera event. So when would be enough for you to say, this is enough? What has to happen for you to say, yes, I made a mistake in yesterday, I will absolutely change my attitudes today? So when is enough for you?